What's up, y'all? Sparta here. So for this video, I just want to do a early impressions on the camera on the S21 Ultra. Now there are a few things that I want to talk about, mainly because as the V60 kind of loses focus, but nonetheless, um, this 108 megapixel camera, this monster right here, is the main star of the show. I did do a lot of testing with the two telephoto lenses as well. Um, and for me, what I feel is very interesting and what is kind of a hard thing to grasp when it comes to mainly the main sensor, the 108 megapixel wide sensor right here, is that due to the fact that obviously there's a laser autofocusing system on here, very much like your LG G7 or any LG phone pre V40. It's just very interesting to see that they went with this, mainly because the S20 Ultra had focusing issues with this big sensor. It is a massive sensor, and that is one of the reasons why they decided to just go with that's basically the reason why they decided to go with the laser autofocusing system, because of the fact that due to the fact that this is so large, it's just going to be hard to focus. Um, which I guess I would say, okay, if it's so hard for this sensor to focus, why not just go with why not just go to lower megapixel count sensor like a 64 or even a 48? I know they want to flex their muscles. I understand that. But there are indeed issues that I do see. I don't necessarily think they're gigantic deal breaker issues or anything like that, but they are issues nonetheless, and I do want to bring them up. So, for one, you are able to crop up to 10x zoom when you go into 108 megapixel mode. A really good benefit is that when you leave, this is something that I kind of wish LG implemented on the V60, is that if you choose to be in 64 megapixel mode on the V60, it'll stay in there so long as you're in the app. But the moment you leave, if you come back for like a second, it'll still be in 64 megapixel mode, but it'll reset back to regular 4x3. So on this, at least, when you're in auto mode, it'll stay on 108 megapixel mode. Now, obviously, more information means more storage is going to take up, which means the longer it's going to process if you say want to send it to like friends just to look at or something like that. So keep that in mind. um, I don't really have any problems. I didn't really have any problems with them being able to be seen on Instagram or Facebook, so it's not necessarily that big of a deal. There are issues overall with how the images in the phone are processed sometimes, with like certain lights and bokeh and stuff like that I will talk about. They do also have this focus enhancer thing, which keeps your subject in focus, but it also makes it so there's like no background blur. And to me, that sucks. I don't really like that. Let me see if I could show you guys exactly what I mean here. Let me get my ring off this keychain. Okay, so bear with me. I am holding two gigantic phones here. So let me as you guys can see right there on the top, that's the focus enhancer. If you don't have it turned on, which great. If you don't have it turned on, it won't be on. But the moment you decide to turn it on, see, look at that. Focus enhancer. Enhanced for better focus, right? Which is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not trying to be, oh, it's terrible or anything like that. And, oh, then it like, as you guys can see, there's like no background blur, right? So let me attempt to turn it off. And as you guys can see, it has background blur. And that's really nice. That's really satisfying. It looks good. Turn it back on. One, it changes the position of the sensor, which is kind of weird, and it just doesn't look all that great. You turn it off, and that just looks very nice. It's something that I feel kind of sucks about this phone. And there's also certain aspects of the camera that kind of get aspects of photos that kind of get that are kind of janky. I will show you guys this real quick. Let me just log in. Let me just log into the phone here. So where's it at? I didn't delete it, did I? Jesus. Alright, so what I'll do here is I'll just scroll through the photos that I took, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. So, as you guys can see right here, this is one of the newer Mountain Dew things. The background blur is very nice. Whether you be in 108 megapixel mode, or just not in 108 megapixel mode, you'll get the same amount of background blur. That's not really going to change. It's only really going to change the amount of detail you will see in the photo. So that is nice. This is just texture on the mask that I'm wearing. Looks decent. I think this was me just zooming in. I don't know if it was 3x. It probably was. This is the wide angle. Looks good. It's not necessarily bad at all. It's not overblown or anything. Looks pretty much how the scene looks. Then the issues here mainly come with the fact that the texture on the texture on the brick, and of course I do that. The texture on the brick is a little bit washed out, but I'm not really going to slag it for that. Then you go in, and as you guys can see, it's even more smoothed. It looks fine. Like the main focus is the clock itself, so it's whatever. And I think this is either 30 or I think this is 30x. 100x just wouldn't be stable. But yeah, that looks really good. I will say the 30x on here is improved over the S20 FE, so that's really nice. This is me focusing on the Plaza title right over there. So as you guys can see as I zoom in, look at that. And 3M Plaza, even more. And look at that. It looks decent. It definitely looks a bit grainy, but it's not terrible. And this is a wide angle shot right here of Landmark Center, downtown St. Paul. Had a brisk, so I decided to take a picture of that. Looks nice. It's not overexposed or anything. It doesn't look terrible. It actually is high quality. The background blur is very nice. You do get some grain with photos. It's not horrendous, but I do say the background blur on this is really nice. Bokeh, it's a little ovular on like very separate, not clumped together lights like this, but overall it's still good. Nothing is really wrong about that. Then I just took a closer picture. Now this is where I see some of the issues that I want to talk about. So as you guys can see, if I can I'm trying to, oh great. This red right here, look how blotchy that kind of looks, right? It looks like it's almost about to bleed into the can. And to me, that's kind of weird. I don't necessarily like that. Overall, the can looks really good. It looks detailed, nice. One thing that you will definitely see is what I'm going to show you when it comes to this dog toy at work that I looked at. But I will show you that in a second. The eye on the bird here, the overall, it's not really all that detailed. It tends to focus on the center of the subject, which is fine, but it's just something that I want to point out. And then for these lights here, it's totally fine. I don't necessarily have an issue with that. It's mainly these red lights, which is the stop requested or the intercom messaging system that is on the bus. That's pretty much what that is. and it's fine. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something I do want to point out. And this was in 108 megapixel mode, just to let you guys know. So this was a 3x picture, I believe I took of the light switches, obviously by my door. One thing I will say is that it's very detailed. It is a 3x optical zoom due to the fact that the phone does have a separate 3x optical zoom sensor and a 10x optical zoom sensor. So that's really nice. It looks very quality. As you guys can see, everything is in detail. Everything is clear and crisp, and it looks nice. Now, I did the exact same thing. I just did it with the main sensor, and obviously there's grain. But it doesn't look horrendous, but from here at a glance, you're not really going to be able to tell anything is like different, and it just looks really good, in my opinion. Here's a moonshot. Something I very much like to do ever since I got the S20 FE and the S21 Ultra. I want to try to do it with 100x. I tried, but due to the fact that it was cold out and, it's not going to be that stable, it was difficult to do. But this looks really good. It looks really quality. I don't necessarily have any sort of issues with how it looks. Now this is what I want to talk about here. Let me get into a better position here. Okay, so there's a good amount of detail on the overall toy itself, right? As you guys can see, though, it does get a little bit soft right here. Soft right there. And this is what I mean by it tends to focus on the center of the subject. But then, as you guys can see right here, it's blurred a little bit. It's not detailed. It's not like it can't pick up on those details. It's more that it's focusing on the center, but it's not keeping everything else in the frame in mind when it comes to that. I understand the background itself being blurred out. That's totally fine. But my problem comes with, say I were to send this picture to somebody, so obviously it looks fine. You look at it at a glance, you're not going to be like, oh, it's not detailed. But it's just something I wanted to show you guys. This is something that's really nice too. I do feel like low light is decent on this. I'm obviously going to have to do more testing, but it looks pretty good. The background blur, again, is really nice. You really can't see what those signs say at all. And I will say, yes, you obviously get lens flares. You do get lens dots on this too, but thank God, it's leaps and bounds better than the iPhone 12 Pro Max. It's as good as like the V60, where you may get like 3 or 4, whereas on the 12 Pro Max you get like a max of like funnily enough 9 to 12. So yeah, but as you guys can see, that looks really quality right there. The background blur is really nice on that. It's just really quality, and that's what I want to say. And another, like, this tends to happen with reds, right? As you guys can see, it's a little bit harsh. It's a little bit sharp. You can clearly still see what it says, which is fine. But when it comes to reds, for whatever reason, it looks a bit weird, but it's whatever. That was a 10X, I believe, and that just looks really nice. It came from like the top left of this, or technically right of this building right here, and it just looks good. No problems there. As you guys can see, that's blown out a little bit more, and it looks totally fine. This is where I was downtown, and I wanted to take some pictures of the Wells Fargo building. It doesn't look great, mainly because there's a bunch of light sources right by me. And as you guys can see... Oh, I never noticed that. Look at that. I don't know what that is, but it's whatever. The Wells Fargo, but I got better pictures of that. Here's the F. Scott Fitzgerald statue that's in downtown as well, right by the Landmark Center. And Here's this general picture that I tend to take on all my phones just so I can show you guys how good it is with taking in a bunch of light. Now, it was a little bit more light outside due to daylight savings and all that crap, but this represented the scene well. I will say it's very well detailed. Nothing is, obviously that's going to be a little bit but it's not the focus. So I'm not necessarily going to slag the phone for that. That's fine. Again, unless you're really going to be pixel peeping and digging into each and every part of the image. It's not horrendous, but I wouldn't say it's as detailed. Like, I don't know. I think the V60 may have done a little bit better here, but I'm gonna have to look at those pictures again. I think this was 30x zoom, and this looks really nice. I'm not gonna lie, that looks really clean. Obviously, it's gonna be a little bit grainy, so it's technically a night shot, and it just looks nice. I don't really have any sort of problems with that. I think that's 10x. Again, really nice. And now the phone wants to focus on the fan. Let me do this. There we go. Then I just did a 100x shot of the Wii in Wells Fargo. That looks good. I didn't expect it to look that good, so that's just really nice. This is just a quick shot of me taking, let me find it. It's of this light right here, this top light right here. That's what this is, and that just looks really nice. This is a wide angle shot, I think. Then this is me doing the, I think this is 10x. No, this might be 3. This is 10. This is 30. This is 100. Very nice, very clean. I don't really have any sort of issues with this. It's a little bit fuzzy right here, but compared to the S20 FE, for example, this does a way better job. The S20 FE, both the S20 FE and this decimate the competition when it comes to zoom in the US anyway. And comparing it to a 12 Pro Max, in particular, the 12 Pro Max struggled with getting this without it being all super fuzzy and a little bit artifacty. So this to me is really nice. Then I try to get the exit sign right there. That's in the Landmark Center as well. As you guys can see, that's decent. The 100X looked terrible, so I just deleted it. But then I started to get this sign right here. That looks really good. And this is a leaf that I decided to take a picture of with the 10x camera. And this just looks really nice. It's not completely sharp, but the background blur is very good. And it's honestly nice. This is where I had a couple problems with trying to get focus. As you guys can see, it's a little bit fuzzy right here. Then I'm trying to find the one. I think it's this one. This one was probably the best one that I took, where it was detailed. I did go into pro mode, I think. And I did obviously have to hold the flower or the plant, and it just looks nice. Obviously, I gotta put that back into autofocusing. It just looks nice. I like that a lot. Then I took this is a regular photo. This is 3. This is 10. And that's just really nice. I really do like having those optical lenses. It makes me use the telephoto way more. Hopefully more companies decide to do that, because it just makes the telephoto lenses far more usable than just one that kind of looks bad. And yeah, but overall, that's all I really want to say. I didn't really intend to make this a super long video, but yeah, overall, I do feel like the camera does need a little bit of work. I do have some issues with it. I do need to learn it. Obviously, it's only really been my second day with the phone, so I'm not a super mega pro at it or anything like that. But I'm going to dig into the other settings. I do use Pro mode when I really don't want the Samsung colors. You still get that amazing background blur. You can't go in 108 megapixel mode. In manual mode, it kind of sucks, but it's whatever. That's all I really want to say for this, though. Let me know in the comment section below if you have a S21 Ultra, if you've done really well with it, if you like the cameras, if you don't like the cameras, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just let me know your opinion. Opinions are valuable, and I do want to know what people think. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for support. Hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday or whatever time of day it is in the area. Like the video if you like it. Dislike it if you dislike it. Share with people that are interested in this sort of content. And again, have a good one.